What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Tommy Martin and I am a second year Med-Peds Resident. And what I want to be talking to you guys about in this video is having a baby during residency. So before we get to the video, I want you guys to know that you are greatly loved, and that you are wonderfully and beautifully created, and that you guys are capable of far more than you could ever imagine. Alright, so just to give you guys a little bit of background in case you do not know me or you're new to my channel, I'm a second year resident. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Phoebe Martin. We met in medical school. We met during our second year of medical school, and then I proposed to her. No, we met during our first year of medical school. I proposed to her during our second year of medical school, and then we got married during our third year of medical school. And if you look, I have quite a few different playlists from those years that you guys could check out. And I'll also put our proposal video right here in case you want to check that out. So anyways, we ended up couples matching together at the University of Arkansas. That is where we are currently practicing. She is a second year pediatric resident and I am a second year Med-Peds resident. So just to tell you guys kind of the process, so we found out we were pregnant back in September, and it came as a little bit of a surprise. We had just decided that we were planning to start to have children, and so we were really excited about it, absolutely thrilled. But Phoebe had just started, or actually Phoebe and I both had been training for a half Ironman. So this is the section of the video where I'm going to talk about how incredible my wife is, and then I'll get to more of the details about having a baby during residency, which we're about to do. Anyway, so Phoebe, she was training for a half Ironman, and for those of you that do not know what that is, it is a 1.2 mile swim, a 56 mile bike, and a 13.1 mile run. So she'd been training for this all the while being pregnant, not even knowing it, and then our race day was 12 weeks into her pregnancy, which we found out we were pregnant about 10 weeks, maybe 9 weeks or so. So she still completed a half Ironman while being pregnant. Absolutely insane. So not only that, further to tell how great she is, she's been able to go through second year of residency, be an upper level, mentor the first year residents, and still excel in residency. She still shows up every single day, full of energy, full of life, full of love for her patients, and it has been incredible. Now, that doesn't mean that every step of the way has been easy, or that the pregnancy has been easy. It's much easier for me to say being on this end, but her first trimester, she battled with a lot of morning sickness. And I think she would probably tell you that that was the hardest part, because she was still going to work, still rounding on patients, still waking up really early, and just being sick 24/7. They call it morning sickness, but she was literally sick all the time. But that was pretty much throughout the first trimester, and then the next 2 trimesters honestly have been pretty incredible, and she has continued to excel. Not only is she an incredible resident, she's an incredible wife. She continues to do things with me, such as we go on daily walks, she cooks, she cleans, which we do those things together. So the beginning of this was just to tell how great she is, and that even though you're in residency, and if you are a woman, although I could never understand what it's like to be pregnant in residency, I could say that my wife has excelled at it, and that if she was able to do it, I'm sure that you could too if you're someone that's thinking about getting pregnant during residency. Something I should touch on briefly, and Phoebe would really be the better one to talk about this, but would be the hardships of being pregnant during residency. And I'll actually throw this into the earlier part of the video. But I think those would be being tired. Phoebe's working 12 to 14 hour days, and she's just exhausted a lot of the time. It would not be rare for her to fall asleep at 7 o'clock. I mean, she's a baby making machine, right? She's making another human right now and working full time, and so she was very tired, and that makes things such as studying and things like that harder to do just because you're so exhausted. Okay, not to mention, she's also a rock star because she passed step 3 while doing all this and was able to study for that. Anyway, another thing would just be eating. So her appetite's been very weird, very strange. I told you in the first trimester she was very sick. The second and third, she just like craves different things and doesn't really want set meals, and so that makes it hard to be in the hospital and know what snacks to bring, what snacks not to bring. So what I would recommend is always have snacks on you just in case that's something you crave at that time. But if not, have some cash on you or your credit or debit card so that you can pick up something at the cafeteria that you just seen, you're like, I could eat that right now. Just because her appetite would vary from hour to hour. So having accessible snacks or money on hand to buy things that look appealing, I think would be very important as well. And then the weight gain, I probably shouldn't talk about that. I'll let Phoebe talk about that in another video if you want, and kind of the mental and emotional aspects that may come from having that may come from weight gain during pregnancy. I'll let her touch on that. All right. Next, I'll just kind of talk about the logistics and things, and this is kind of where it gets a little hard and a little confusing, is because unless you had already planned out getting pregnant during a certain year, then your schedule is already set in stone. So Phoebe and I, our schedules for this year was already set. There wasn't a whole lot of changes that could be done. And so fortunately and unfortunately, there's some hiccups in our schedule. And so at the delivery of our beautiful baby boy, I will thankfully be on 2 easy weeks. So I'll get to spend tons and tons of time with Phoebe, I'll get to be at the delivery. And also our program is very good about giving us time off or allowing easier rotations to be there during the first few months of his life. And so those 2 weeks I'll get to be at the delivery, I'll get to spend time with Phoebe, and I'll have about a week and a half that I'm home with her and with our baby boy. And so that is a huge plus. But the unfortunate side of it is a rotation that was already scheduled. It's the neonatal ICU. I will be in that rotation for a month. And so that month I'll be working 14-hour days, 1 day off a week, and I will not get to be here a whole lot for Phoebe. And so that's a very hard part of it. And if it wasn't already so late in the year, maybe we could have made some changes, but that's just something to keep in mind is your schedule. So having your schedule already made when you're thinking about having a baby in residency can make things very challenging. Now for Phoebe, thankfully, you know, her first year of pediatric residency, their first year is very, very hard. They do a lot of their core rotations and they get a lot of that out of the way. So that allowed for this year, a lot of flexibility where Phoebe only had to change one rotation, and that's the pediatric ICU, which she'll do as a third year instead of as a second year. And outside of that, her schedule is already pretty good for her. So she'll get to do a rotation called infant and development. And what that means is that she gets to stay at home, spend time with our baby boy, and kind of watch him grow over this month, documenting it and learning from that. And then her second month, I believe she's doing reading or research. So that'll be another month where she has to study at home, but she'll get to be here with our baby boy. In that month, I have easy rotation as well. And so we'll have about 3 months of rotations that are on the easier side of things now that we're upper levels, and will allow for a lot of time with Oliver. So that's his name. I guess I could go ahead and say it. So that's kind of the dealing with your schedule while having a baby in residency. Another thing that I want to talk to you guys about having a baby in residency is the financial aspect of it. And so it comes with a lot of cost. There are definitely costs that you wouldn't expect, especially if you've never had a kid before. And so some things that I would recommend is as soon as you find out that you're pregnant, have a little separate account in your checking account in which you have it for a baby fund. And if you've been thinking about having a baby, you may have already been doing this. And then throughout the 9 months of your pregnancy, continually put money in there to save for your baby fund. That is what Phoebe and I have been able to do and save quite a bit of money for the expenses that are going to be coming up. So such as the delivery and the hospital expenses, those are definitely going to be pretty substantial and things that we'll have to pay for, which your insurance may have certain copays and deductibles that will work with that as well. And then also just the nursery. So having the furniture that you need, a crib, a bassinet, a changing table, all of those things, those expenses definitely add up. So I would highly recommend having a baby fund to set aside if you're planning on having kids, and just putting money into that as you can every month so that when a baby does come, that you're well prepared to handle that. And so this definitely was not a comprehensive video, but some of the main things that I wanted to talk about was your schedule, how much of a rock star my wife is, and the financial side of things. Now we are due in 2 weeks, so we'll be able to tell you more about actually having a baby during residency. All right guys, so those are the main things I want to talk about. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys the nursery. Okay, let's go check it out. Actually, you guys comment below, and then I'll do another video showing you guys our nursery since this video has been so long. Okay, so I'm going to end the video now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video discussing kind of the ins and outs of pregnancy throughout residency. I wish Phoebe was here to talk with us, but she's actually doing telemedicine calls right now. So I'm going to end the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And before I go, I want you guys to know that you are greatly loved, and that you're wonderfully and beautifully created, and that you guys are capable of far more than you could ever imagine.